Welcome back. As we wait for Mitt Romney's vice presidential announcement, I was reminded of an old baseball saying, the game's not nearly over, but it's getting awfully late, awfully early. As we broadcast tonight, we are now just 88 days away from the election. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know I've been doing a lot of poll watching lately. Everywhere I look, I see the president out in front and stretching his lead in the polls ever so slightly. Latest poll average from Real Clear Politics, that's the put all the polls in a blender and see what comes out approach, has the president up by more than 4 points and still with a pretty firm grip in the electoral vote count. And if you needed any more proof that the president seems to be doing particularly well right now, check out this surprising poll in the race that we got last night from, of all places, Fox News. Fox News poll has President Obama up 9 points, 49 to 40. And those numbers are coming despite a steady stream of attacks against the president, each insisting the country is on the edge of disaster and that the Obama administration has been disastrous if the country's not there already.
He said if we let him borrow $787 billion, he would keep unemployment below 8%. It has not been below 8% since.
Quite simply, Colorado and America cannot afford another 4 years of President Obama's policies.
So, guys, everybody talks about the country is not in a great place. Things are stagnating. People aren't happy. All that should add up to Mitt Romney leading this race. Why isn't he?
President Obama is currently engaging in some of the most despicable attacks we've seen in a presidential campaign. And it is leading to his having the lowest approval rating that he's had in months. So I don't think that voters are necessarily, whatever the poll is going to be at this time, what matters is in November. And there hasn't even been the convention yet. There hasn't been the VP pick. There hasn't been a single debate between President Obama and Mitt Romney. So this race is still wide open. The polls are going to fluctuate a little bit, but most of them are within the margin of error. But what his biggest attribute that he has going for him right now is that he's likable, and these attacks that he's engaging in are really risking that reputation. I'm just going to point out Swift Boat and Willie Horton. I don't think we're quite at the most despicable level ever. Accusing Mitt Romney of killing someone, I think that's pretty low. It wasn't a direct accusation. Well, we can
indirect, but there are some Obama supporters that say that ad was fair game. I know you disagree. I see your eyes widening, but there are some people that say it was fair game. We can agree to disagree. Jessica's right in terms of the likability factor, and that's why President Obama, as of right now, let's keep in mind, this is only a snapshot in time. And I'm glad you used that baseball analogy, because I'm not willing to write Mr. Romney off as of yet. Oh, I'm not either. And here's why. If we just go back, rewind 6 months, everything was thrown at Romney, including the kitchen sink, and we were told that, can he clinch the nomination? How come he can't close the deal? How come conservatives don't like him? How come? And yet, he's about to accept his party's nomination. So don't write this guy off. What I think is working against him is also a money factor in terms of Obama has been able to define himself as a defender, whether it's accurate or not, of the middle class, and he's been able to box Mr. Romney in as a very, very wealthy person, and I believe Americans are having a hard time identifying with that right now. One of the things that catches my eye, you mentioned likability, and I agree with you wholeheartedly, and the poll numbers show President Obama far more popular, more likable, at least in terms of people's perceptions, than Mitt Romney is. But likability is not something that you can really change that quickly. You can't put out an ad that makes you more likable. You have to almost become a different person if you're going to become more likable. I know Dominic's been trying to become more likable for years, and it's still not working. For you, and I follow you. I know you mentioned Twitter earlier. Yeah. I follow you on Twitter. I follow you too, and Jessica. But I follow you but enough about this. How do you make yourself more likable? I don't think that's going to be the defining factor in the voting booth on election day. You're right. He has that going for him. He's putting that reputation on the line by being so aggressive and lying and outlandish in his attacks. He's diminishing the presidency with these attacks. So he's putting that on the line. His approval rating has definitely dropped in the past few months as a result of that. So when voters go into the booth on election day, are they going to say, I want the guy I like, or I want someone that's going to find me a job and lower
taxes.
But Jessica, you said the president has been very tough. You said the president has been lying about Mr. Romney. But what about Mr. Romney's ad where he completely took the president's words out of context and changed them?
What ad? Where he said you didn't build that? I don't think that was taken out of context, and he doubled down on it.
It really was. It really was.
It was not. It absolutely was not.
Okay.
He said it. I saw the video of it.
All right. We don't have time to talk about undecided voters, but there are fewer of them than there were 4 years ago. People should know that, and that it's impacting the race. Generally, they're playing to their bases as opposed to trying to play to undecided voters. But both campaigns were trading harsh TV ads this week. They got a lot of play from the networks, the cable outlets, online, including one pro-Obama ad that, as Jessica mentioned, implied Bain Capital, in buying and closing a company, helped contribute to the death of a woman by taking away her family's health care. Democrats defended the ad. Republicans have called it a lie and a smear. But here's part of what Romney Press Secretary Andrea Saul said on Fox this week, reacting to that ad.
If people had been in Massachusetts under Governor Romney's health care plan, they would have had health care.
And conservatives went ballistic when they heard that, not pleased at all. One conservative commentator, Eric Erickson, tweeted he thought that might be the moment Romney loses the election. And then there was Ann Coulter on Fox.
Anyone who donates to Mitt Romney, and I mean the big donors, ought to call Mitt Romney and say if Andrea Saul isn't fired and off the campaign tomorrow, they are not giving another dime, because it is not worth fighting for this man if this is the kind of spokesman he has. There's no point in us going to a convention and pushing for this man if he's employing morons like this.
The voice of reason, Ann Coulter. And by the way, Ann, please take a breath and slow down when you're talking. Anybody can hear you. It's confusing. But look, we all know this game. Anybody can misspeak or make a bad reference. I think that's what Andrea Saul did. She probably regretted it the moment it came out of her mouth. But my bigger question is, how toxic is healthcare to Mitt Romney? I mean, look at the blowback that Andrea Saul got for mentioning it, considering what Mitt Romney did in Massachusetts, and considering that that's his biggest attack on President Obama. Is healthcare really, is it kryptonite to Mitt Romney's, well, I'm giving Mitt Romney a lot of credit, but you know what I'm saying.
To me, the bigger story coming out of all of this is not whether what Andrea Saul said. It has to do with the fact that the Obama campaign lied about coordinating with the super PAC and lied about their affiliation with the story. And now they're trying to backtrack on it. And that's what we should be talking about.
But we are talking about health care as an issue, and how bad of an issue is that for Mitt Romney. And Dominic, let me ask you, how bad is it for Mitt Romney?
He finds himself, being Mr. Romney, in a pickle of a situation. He can't really talk about it, because if he talks about it, and see, during the primary, his Republican counterparts tried to bring it up, but they were not able to make it stick. President Obama is a lot better in terms of a debate situation. When they debate each other, and President Obama points out Massachusetts, what is Mr. Romney going to say? He's
going to say, I did something as governor of a state. It's a states' rights issue. It's not something that the federal government should be doing.
Does that argument really hold, considering you're talking life or death issues? You're talking about people. I mean, healthcare is something everybody can relate to, whether you live, depending on the. But you think just calling it a state's issue is going to be enough?
Yes, because people are now in a position where they're facing the largest tax increase in history, and they're going to be penalized by the IRS for not purchasing health care. So it's an entirely different thing that you're talking about. I agree that this is not the #1 thing that the Romney campaign wants to be talking about, but there is a distinction there, and I think he'll be able to effectively draw it during the debate.
But you know, Andrew, I just want to say this, and this is not political, but I feel so bad for the press secretary in this situation. I really do.
I do too.
Because we're on live television now, and when you're on live television, anything can happen. The public may not be aware of this, but someone may have been saying something in her ear while she was speaking. You know, and her career is now going to be defined by this one comment.
So I don't know if this will make her feel any better, but Andrea Saul, we have a chair waiting for you here on RFL. Anytime you want to come in and sit down.
I need some
backup. All right, we're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, we're going to shift to games of another kind. The 2012 London Games. Is Team USA somehow not American enough? Some are saying their uniforms show a lack of patriotism. We want to know if you agree. That's next when RFL comes back.